process, and now getting that to sell.
Clock right there. Hey everybody, my name is Steve Thomas. I am not Jeff from Microsoft, who's supposed to kick this off right now, so we'll track him down and have him come up here. Thanks everybody for coming. We are Unidev. We have a monthly speaker series where we try and bring our partners and our ideas and our thoughts about the marketplace to a pretty broad audience, both our customers, just our communication and network throughout the whole community. Our idea is that really information is most valuable and shared, as we try and really find the right information for the industry that we're in, technology obviously, and bring it to the table. Creighton Alexander will tell you a little bit about our company. Our CEO is here today. Since it's paying for some of this, we have to let him talk for a few minutes, right? So just pay homage there for sure. But certainly want to introduce our friends here from GlobalScape in a few minutes. GlobalScape is right in the crux of what's important for security, for your emails, for your files you're transferring, for the information that's going from point A to point B, for your file collaboration. They have been really recognized throughout the industry as, if not the strongest player, one of the strongest players in this whole arena. And they are here to answer our questions about this area tonight, show us a few of the products they have, give us some feedback on that, and take your questions, because that's how this whole thing works. We're very give and take. Have a great night. Rick?
Thank you for coming. We've been working really hard to find, we're an engineering firm, and some of you know that have worked with us before. Our background is really software engineering and looking for companies that, partners that are in that space too. And GlobalScape was a really good fit for us because, they work with the types of clients that we have. They work with, they got, leading edge products, which really help us blend together. We've had a number of projects that have needed something like this, and we didn't really have a great solution for it. So, really wanted to introduce them to what you guys are doing, because it's really kind of fun. So it's fundamental work that a lot of systems are just handling, either homegrown or brew your own, or something that's kind of pretty lightweight. And with people not realizing that there's some really good tools out there that can do a lot of these projects, a lot of this effort that if your company is using file transfer, or even if you don't really know if you're using file transfer, I think you'll find there's a lot of cases where these tools underneath your systems can really simplify things. So we've got a bank in Texas, we've got some different customers that this would be a great tool for, and weren't even aware that it existed. So so we ended up doing different solutions, which now we have a much better solution to take out to there. So I'll let you guys take it.
Very good, thanks, Greg.
Hello everyone, I'm Chuck Grundle, GlobalScape Corporation, and first and foremost I want to thank everybody for taking the time to come out and visit with us tonight. I want to thank the Unidev team, Steve and Angela helped me put this together, or we all worked together to put this together. A couple of people I want to introduce also from GlobalScape, Trent Spanos. Trent is our enterprise rep for GlobalScape. Adrian Acuna. He is our SE, as I like to say, he's the smart guy of the trio. We all work as a team. We manage what is the Southeast Territory. And so, again, today we're going to talk a little bit about file transfers and how we play in file transfers, how we secure those file transfers from point A to point B. And also make sure, and we're going to talk a little bit about compliance also. So with that being said, we're going to, just out of curiosity, how many of you are doing any file transfers through FTP? Is there, okay, so I see a few hands here. Of course, we have 3-point products. One is built around EFT or FTP, which we call it EFT, which is Magic Quadrant leader in this managed file transfer space. Also, we were recognized more recently by Infotech as also one of the leaders in this managed file transfer space.
You've got data. It may be big data, little data, or any kind of data in between. The problem is you need to securely move this data to internal departments and business partners worldwide. Oh, and those internal departments and business partners also have data they need to send to you. Now, when you add in the fact that all of this data has to be tracked, reported on, audited, and sent to certain places, it gets confusing. But don't worry. That's where we come in. We're GlobalScape, and our software suite can help you securely send and receive data any way you like. Whether it's megabytes, gigabytes, or terabytes, we have a solution for you. Or maybe you need to comply with government regulations, or you need to automate complex actions. Well, we can help. We work with companies around the world, helping them set up the right solution. So why not give us a try? With GlobalScape software, you'll get the simplicity you want, the stability you need, and the security you require.
So that's one of two videos we're going to show you today. The next one's going to be a little more in-depth. It's animated, but it's going to give you a great idea of what we do. Again, some of this is a little redundant. U.S. Army, I just talked about that, and then as you can see, we are one of the leaders, or the leader in the Infotech quadrant. And again, we are a security company, but we're not a security company like AV, spam, firewall. We are a security company around file transfers. And so, again, so when you think of us as a true security company. Here are some trade racks which are very notable, and as you can see, there's, it's not just malware that people have concerns with. As you can see here, there's been some major risks, security breaches around FTP transfers. So again, there's major concern around FTP and what's going out from point A to point B.
From contracts reviewed by
There's
legal
another
experts,
video.
orders delivered to clients, or project details being sent to partners, file transfers are a crucial part of your daily operations. Each organization, and sometimes each department, has a different solution in place, and that often
Whoops.
creates compatibility or administration problems. Managing your old file transfer systems has become a full-time job, so full-time that you can't get anything else done. These manual processes are not only inefficient, From contracts reviewed by legal experts, orders delivered to clients, or project details being sent to partners, file transfers are a crucial part of your daily operations. Each organization, and sometimes each department, has a different solution in place, and that often creates compatibility or administration problems. Managing your old file transfer systems has become a full-time job, so full-time that you can't get anything else done. These manual processes are not only inefficient, but also introduce errors. Plus, your boss and your partners are asking what's holding up the transfer of a critical data file. But the old system doesn't have real-time monitoring or SLA alerting for you to provide an answer. In addition, security and compliance issues are a major concern, particularly when HIPAA, PCI, or other regulations are in play. Even when organizations adopt strong protocols, they also face the problem of adoption. If platforms are clumsy, employees turn to consumer-grade options. But rest easy, there's a better solution. GlobalScape's EFT platform provides best-in-class control, visibility, and security adopted by some of the world's most prominent organizations. EFT comes with the necessary secure protocols right out of the box, with user authentication options to safeguard data, and active-active clustering eliminates downtime. Automation allows you to reduce administration tasks. Continued visibility into the process provides more detailed reports and offers alerts when file transfers fail. In the end, GlobalScape allows companies to take control of their file transfer processes across the enterprise.
So right here is where I'm going to turn everything over to Adrian. Again, we're going to touch on these three solutions, EFT, Mail Express, and Last, and how they integrate with each other or how they can stand alone as a separate solution. So Adrian, take over. Thank you.
All right, so thanks, Chuck. My name is Adrian Acuña. I'm going to kind of cover the product. If you have any questions, please feel free to pick up, raise your hand, or ask me while it's fresh in your mind. Or rather, you get a question answered before instead of waiting at the end and different questions. So basically, we're going to talk about the usual case, what we usually see in a lot of organizations out there. They'll usually have, every company has data they have to send out. That data might have to go, might be positive pay files, could be health records, could be legal documents, patient records. Any type of data that has to be sent, a lot of times it goes to a file. When you buy something with a credit card, that goes to a file, that goes out to the bank. So it's all based on that. So that data has to be sent to either a client, or maybe has sent to a customer, or maybe has to go to another business partner that they have to do regular tradings with on a daily basis. And so what they usually do, what we usually see a lot of clients will end up doing, they'll set up a DMZ network, where they have an FTP server, they'll throw it up. They'll be like, hey, this is easy, no problem, we'll just put the data out in the DMZ network, our clients can come get it, we'll give them a login and password, and that's fine. So that works okay. They have data that they can go across, they'll have to put their own data up to the FTP server, and send it across too. So that's another option you can do. As the business grows, you know, while some other client comes on, well, we have data in the DMZ, we need to get it off. Like, all right, well, we can manually do it, or we can just set up some scripts. So they'll set up scripts to go and manually or automatically schedule things, pull the data out of the DMZ network. So this is pretty typical setup that we usually see. Later on, another client comes in, they need to use SFTP. So the company will then set up an SFTP service. That's fine, we can set up another application to do this as well. Then later on, another client comes in like Walmart, says you have to use AS2 for everything. Okay, well, we'll set up an AS2 service. So we've gotten now to a very complicated protocol, very simple FTP, simple like AS2. Do you all know what AS2 is? No? We'll cover that. We'll talk some more about it. But AS2 is a very complicated protocol in itself. So going from there, we have another client who's just a regular user, doesn't know anything about AS2, which most people don't. I didn't until I started working here. Doesn't not even have an FTP client. They don't want to learn. So like, well, that's fine. I understand you use a browser. Like, okay, we'll set up a web browser, web interface that you can use to do all the same things. So now we have 4 servers running. We have these scripts running in the background to pull the data off. And so everything seems like it's going to be fine. But of course, if something can break as well. And so scripts break, or a server breaks, and now we have to figure out which application to fix, who fixes the script, who writes the script, or something along those lines. And so you end up with a lot of problems. A lot of clients find that this doesn't work anymore because it's gotten too big and too cumbersome. It's like the video described earlier. It's not manageable. So as the company grows, and you end up with challenges where they have multiple systems they have to manage, they have to deal with multiple vendors, trying to figure out which vendor to call. And then sometimes that vendor will say, well, it's not my fault, it's another product that needs to be fixed. So it goes back and forth. And again, one of the big pieces that none of this meets any type of, usually any type of security requirements, PCI requirements, or HIPAA requirements, or legal issues. So clients can become, or customers can become liable for any type of data leakage or breach. And so that happens, you see that all the time, where the Dropbox is in trouble because their data is going out. Target had an issue because they didn't meet PCI requirements, so that's the whole reason that they lost 40 million accounts, something like that, not too long ago. So this is where GlobalScape kind of comes into play, as we try and take all these solutions and make a single platform for us. So in our eyes, or our vision, is that we need a single solution that can do, provide secure global access. So being able to have an application supporting multiple protocols, having availability so that if something does break, it doesn't take the then also all the auditing, tracking, and reporting, so you know what's going on, when it's going on. So being able to see all this information real time. So with that, we'll start with how the GlobalScape solution meets a secure global access and accessibility. So maintaining the availability of the server and what we can support. So EFT server is the main application that it really focuses around all the managed file transfer. This is the managed file transfer solution. It is a modular design, so you only have to get the pieces that you want. So if you don't need AS2, which most clients don't, then you don't have to get that purchase that module. But the solution itself runs on Windows. It's an application. You don't have to put a device. It's not an appliance. Just throw up a VM and install Windows on it and install the application on top of it. So you don't need anything special there. It's very simple to use and simple to install and set up. It does support multiple protocols in one single application. So a big thing is here that you have one application to do all these different protocols. You don't have to set up multiple servers. At the same time, it's one vendor for all these different protocols. You can just do all the transfers through all these protocols as needed. It does support multiple applications.
Is that Azure?
It can support Azure as well if you want to go on Azure
So
server.
it's an independent Microsoft developed for global?
No,
Okay.
it's our product. It's just a Windows. I'm going to say no. It runs on Windows basically. EFT servers only supports Windows. So it doesn't support Linux right now. That's a whole different discussion. But just the concept just Windows. There are a couple of integration points in the system for backend integration, whether it's web services or database integration, whatever you want to do with the data or the transfers, or to just have notifications sent out for SMB, whatever. EFT goes further than just moving files. So being able to move files is one thing, but actually doing something with the files is more critical for a lot of clients. You know, we can move the file, but what to do with it then? So you need to put that to an application, you need to open up the file, you need to read data out of it. We can do that with the GlobalScape. You can modify the files, work with databases, connect them, inject some of the Word information to the database, the web database. Or not even work with database at all. It could be Active Directory, it could be SharePoint, it could be any type of solution. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. So I mentioned before we had that DMZ network. So most clients, most infrastructures have a DMZ network, so that's fine. EFT server, we prefer to keep that out of the DMZ network. We want to keep your data secure, keep it out of any type of scope of the DMZ. So we have an application called the DMZ Gateway, which will reside in the DMZ network itself. So all these files that move across, when they're moving, they're actually never being stored on the DMZ network itself. It's almost like a pass-through technology. So when a client connects to it, anything they upload actually gets communicated and brokered through by the DMZ gateway to the EFT server inside the network. So you never have to be concerned about your data being stuck in the DMZ if something does break down. It's always going to be safe and secure on the inside of the network. The DMZ gateway doesn't require any internal firewall before it should be open. So one of the nice things about it is EFT manages that whole connection configuration. So when the server connects to, when a client connects to they're making a connection, easy to make a connection to the DMZ network and tell the DMZ gateway what to do, what protocols, what ports to open up, and go from there. You can change it for you only have to do it inside the network. You never have to go to the DMZ. Pretty much you set it up and you can leave it there. So the data, we're moving files back and forth, that's important, but what about the data itself? We want to scan it. So a lot of clients have an antivirus solution or a DLP solution in place, and so we want to make sure we can scan and work and integrate with those systems as well. So we do support ICAP for content inspection. So we can actually send the file, the data out to the DLP solution or the antivirus solution to make sure it's safe, it's valid, doesn't contain any malware, etc. And so, and based on that response, we can then say, yes, move forward with that file transfer, or delete this file, send an notification, whatever they want to do. And some clients just want to be able to see what's going out. They don't want to stop it, they just want to be able to track it, so that we can log all that information as well in the system. So, being able to move the files, work with the files, and scan the files at the same time. These are some of the solutions that we work as far as ICAP, McAfee, Web Sentence. There's a couple other DLP solutions out there, and antivirus solutions we work with. So as long as the solution supports ICAP as a protocol, then it should work. So, I probably should talk about what ICAP is. Everybody know what ICAP, or we all know what ICAP is? Or, no? Okay, so So I'll talk about that real quick. So when clients, when systems out there have data loss prevention solutions, where they want to make sure that that data doesn't contain social security numbers, doesn't contain credit card information, or doesn't contain personal identifiable information, a data loss prevention solution does that. So it checks the data for it. In order to send the files to the data loss prevention solution, you need a protocol to do that with. So ICAP was developed. It's called Internet Content Applicability Protection, something like that. I'll have to figure out the last one. But basically, it sends it across this protocol. It says, hey, here's the data, check it, and then respond back. And the DLP solution will send back, say, yes, this data is good, if no, this data is not good. And so we can then make a decision from that response as to what to do with the data. And so these solutions support that protocol in general. Right. So it's great to be able to do all this, but we need to make sure that the server is available. So if the server goes down, it's not going to do any good to support all this scanning and protocol. So we do support high availability with native HA support in the application. So being able to stand up multiple servers, multiple nodes, and have a cluster solution where you can have up to 15 different nodes in one environment. Whether this is in the same data center or going across a different data center, we can make sure that the solution itself can be up and running. Users can connect to anyone. You can distribute the load across your different nodes. So if you receive 15,000 files an hour, then we can send, if we have 15 different nodes, we can send 1,000 to each one of those nodes. So distributing the workload and distributing the configuration amongst the different nodes and stuff. So it's built into the application. You don't have to purchase anything extra for it. You get the enterprise server and you get 2 servers. You can just configure it in high availability instance. Pretty much. It does support its own automatic restore. So if one of the nodes gets sick, it can recover itself. And essentially, if it breaks, it's going to talk with it. It'll restart itself, reconfigure itself, and update the records. So it's automatically doing that. You don't have to worry about messing with the system to try and get it back up and running. So we talked about the protocols, we talked about scanning, we made sure the servers are up and running. Well, what about the data? So the data on the back end also has to be replicated. Because it's doing good to have multiple servers up and running in 2 data centers if the data is not on the other side anyway to get access to it. So we have a solution called WAFs, and the whole point of WAFs is real-time file replication with managed file locking. So if you're familiar with DFS, Microsoft DFS, no? Okay, so Microsoft DFS offers a free solution in the Microsoft Windows platform called DFS, or Distributed File System. So basically, you can have multiple servers and have different file shares, essentially folders that you can replicate. So you can say, hey, I want this folder to be exactly the same as this other folder. So there's a system built into Microsoft for that. And it's free, and it works fine. The problem is, when you have these multiple servers, you have these different offices that have the data replicated, if somebody opens a file in Office A and then goes to somebody has to do the same thing in another office, they can both edit the file, save it, then you have collision and replication issues. So now we have 2 different versions of the file, there's the collision in the system, you can't track it. So WAF comes into play that will handle the replication, but will also handle the file locking. So in Office A, when they open up the file, it'll lock it in Office B, so they can't go into Office B and open the file, edit it, or change it. We will protect the integrity of that file. At the same time, we can make sure that we capture all the revisions of those files. So when we make a change and we save it, with WAFs, we will copy that delta, that byte level change of it in the centralized vault. So you can always go back to a previous version of the file without having to manually back it up. It'll automatically back that file up for you. Every time you make a change, you save it. At the same time, you don't have to go and pull it from the tape.
Does it replicate the file or just have a separate file with the change to the original? So you always have that original.
So we always have the original, but when we replicate the change, we distribute the byte level change out to every office. So we don't send the whole file, we just send back the byte level change.
Smart.
Yep. So the system will allow you to pull those files up and restore them whenever you need to. If you want to make a restore a file, it'll push out all the agents that are replicating this data itself. This is just kind of a brief graphical of how that works in general. So in a lot of offices, a lot of companies will have multiple offices. We'll do one or two things, or maybe a combination of both, but they'll have essentially other option that you can look at is have every office has their own file server. So then that's okay too. But then we come back to a situation like, well, if you have an edit in this office location, you have to email to the other office, say, hey, here it is, or copy it, and then you have multiple revisions of files further around, you know, which one's the most current at any given time. And so WAS kind of combines the two by having an agent office or agent file server in each office location, so you can get that local access. You don't have to worry about the network being up and running to access the file, because the agent will already be there. The server is going to be running in each office location to have that local access. But at the same time, there's a centralized vault that manages all the file replication itself. So every copy of the file, every file is going to have a copy on the vault itself. So you can always go to the vault and get one of these files as well. So we manage that replication there. It automatically gets any revisions from the vault itself. So in the case here where you have a file that's created in the United States office, the US office, that file then gets copied over to the vault. So it's automatically there. But just because it's on the vault doesn't mean the other offices have access to it. You have to go to tell the agent, hey, in Australia office location, go ahead and get a copy of this data and we'll configure it and we'll pull the data down. So if you do that in all the agents, at that point, each agent location will have a copy of that data. So now we'll have a copy of this data running around. If somebody in Australia decides to go and edit the file, as soon as they make that save, we'll send that Delta replication out to the vault. And then the other agents will pull down that Delta replication itself. They don't have to pull the whole file, they just pull down just by a couple changes. But this all happens real time. So you don't have to worry about going into the system to tell it to do it. It'll happen in real time every second, every time you make a change, no matter how many files you're looking at, the size of the files. It also supports secure communication. So again, we're working security, and so this whole communication does occur over a secure encrypted channel. So we can work fine with any type of WAN accelerator you may have in place, or your riverbed solution or something like that, and we can take advantage of that as well. But the beauty is that the files are already locally copied in each server, so you don't have to really be concerned so much with a riverbed solution, because you're always going to have a related copy at each office location. It also supports native file locking. And so native file locking is a little bit unique in this term. What it does is when you lock a file, when you have a system that locks files across multiple offices, you can do it one of two ways. You can do an absolute lock, where you open up a file in one office and with Notepad, for example, Notepad doesn't require a file lock, but absolute file locking will make sure that another office that it gets locked anyway. That's okay, but it's not a great way to run the system, because there are a lot of programs out there like CAD drawings, AutoCAD, Revit, that may open a file 1,000 times but never lock it before you're actually doing it. So that can cause a problem with application behavior. So what we do is we support native file locking. We will lock the file the way the application wants to lock the file. So Microsoft Word locks the file when you open that file. Excel also locks the file unless you have multi-use editors on, in which case you can have multiple people working the same Excel file in multiple offices. So we have to be able to support the native file locking, support the way the application wants to lock it. So that's what WAS does, support the application. So whether it's Word, whether it's AutoCAD, Revit, or whatever. Any questions on that so far? So we've covered the application itself, high availability, make sure we can actually stay up and running. The high availability of the data, make sure we can replicate the data to all these different offices. So we'll talk a little about the secure protocols that the server supports. So these are standardized protocols. We don't use any proprietary protocols for our communications. So that means any of your clients that need to send files or receive files or pull files down can use any client they want to connect to. So whether it's QFTP or FileZilla or an SSH command, it doesn't really matter. They can use any client to connect to us because we're using a standardized protocol. But one of the things that sets us apart is while our protocols are standard and non-proprietary, we also are certified in a lot of these protocols. And we think of things like FIPS 140-2, that's a Federal Information Processing Standard. If you want to move data with the government, you have to abide by FIPS 140-2. I think there's actually, anyway, so we are FIPS certified, so we not only did we get and meet the requirement for FIPS, but we also had NIST gone through our testing and made sure that we've met the requirement and validated that. So we have the fifth certification there in 901, 908 right now. And so you can go to this website and they'll pull up, there are only about 1,000 different vendors that actually have a FIPS validated certification, certified library. On top of that, the U.S. Army, our largest client, also has granted us a certificate of networthiness. So when removing files, when we're working with applications with government, a lot of times we want to make sure that the application doesn't interfere with the data systems on there and it's secure, it meets the security requirements for the government. And so the U.S. Army has granted us a certificate of networthiness. Right now, this one's 2012, EMP 64. We're in the middle of getting certified for EMP version 7, which was just released in July. So the U.S. Army has to make an effort to do that for us. So this is something that they're doing on their own. It's not something that we asked for, but it's something that they want to do for us. And so we're very proud and we're happy to have that as part of our team. We're also Drummond certified. So AS2, talked a little bit earlier, is Drummond certification as well. AS2 is a very specialized protocol. AS2 rides on top of HTTPS, so it rides over the internet, just like your web browser does, just like your mobile applications do. But what's unique about AS2 is when files are sent back and forth between different clients, a lot of times you want email notifications saying, yes, I got the file, or whatever. And that's fine, but that's not really a signed receipt. So AS2 allows for a signed receipt to be sent back from the person you sent the file to. So when I send a file to somebody through AS2, that system, that protocol dictates that they have to send the file, check it, validate that file matches what I said it was going to be, and then send me a message back with their digital signature saying, yes, we got the file, and yes, it matches exactly what you said it was, and it's done. That becomes a legally binding file transfer right there. So you need to make sure for clients that are doing ASD transfers that file, the integrity of that file was met, and that you validated, you signed it away and say, yes, I cannot argue that this file is not coming to me correctly anymore. So that's the whole purpose behind AS2. So very sensitive data, or very secure data. The FDA requires their transfers for the drug submissions from the pharmaceuticals to be delivered over AS2. Either AS2 or WebTrader, but a lot of clients, some of our clients are using AS2 with our application to do it right now. I think pretty much every single the health industries worldwide, Ministry of Health in Japan, and then there's also the one in the UK, or the Europe, I can't remember, the European Medical Regulatory Agency, also require AS2. Microsoft, or not Microsoft, but Walmart requires AS2 for their file transfers. So it's a very specialized protocol, but it is built into the product, and we are certified through Drummond to make sure that it does meet the requirements for AS2. Another one is Cisco development. So Cisco also certified this, and we're a big Cisco developer. Cisco actually came to us a long time ago when they started developing their call manager, and so we need to back up the call manager to FTP solution. We need to find something that works consistently. So ever since then, they used a product, at the time it was called Secure FTP Server, so the documentation still says Secure FTP Server. We changed the name about 4 years ago. They never touched that. But the point is, this version here, this is actually version 6, our application is called out directly from the documentation. So we work regularly and closely with Cisco anytime we develop a new version of the call manager. I think they're on version 10 right now. So for call backups. And then, so in our documentation there, they cover it. So anytime a client wants to back up their call manager, they usually call us and say, hey, you're in the documentation, so we're that close to you. Are certified with them to work regularly. So we talked a lot about business transfers, system transfers, AS2, a lot of technical transfers in general. But what about the regular user who doesn't understand the protocol, doesn't have an FTP client, doesn't want to use an FTP client? It's fine. We have a web interface to be able to transfer those files as well. So they can log in through any of the standardized browsers out there and transfer files to us over HTML, over HTTPS. So it's still secure. We're using HTML5 for the transfer. The interface of the system in here also allows for integrity of those file transfers. So when those files are moved across to this web interface, not only do we make sure the file size and file name and the CRC for that file, and then we'll get a response back and validate that they match. So that CRC check is essentially checking the file bit for bit to make sure that it matches on point A and point B. So this interface supports browsers. It also supports the mobile browsers as well. So if you launch it from your phone or your iPad, you want to upload or download a file, that's fine. It's a responsive design, so it'll form fit its factor to the device you're using it on. Any questions on this? All right. All right, so if the browser's not enough, or somebody wants to use a mobile device, but they don't want to use a browser, we have an app. You can use an app as well. The app allows you to download the files. You can also synchronize the files. So you can choose which files you want and have those files regularly synchronized as they're made or changed. So there's a vault application or vault section of the mobile transfer client that you can configure. As an administrator, you can decide whether you can use that vault or not. So you have control. Yes, sir.
Is it the data stored on the device, or is it, how is that sent out?
It's stored on the device. We partition a sandbox. So
Okay.
you actually put data in.
Okay.
And so the data will stay in that sandbox. It's an encrypted sandbox.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
protected from other applications.
Awesome.
Now, as an administrator, you can decide if you want to allow users to use other applications to open that data.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's a checkbox in the application say, hey, allow third-party applications to work with data or not.
Sure.
So, and then you can, at the same time, you can also configure it so you can allow the vault at all. So,
Okay. And is that handled the same way with removable SD cards?
yes.
Okay.
Well, we'll store all the data locally, not in the removable SD card. So we'll
Okay.
actually put it in
That,
local storage.
nice.
So, so we talked about, so far, mostly, we're pretty much all about these standardized transfers. So file transfers that happen regularly, that always have to happen, where you have to put data out there for someone to get. But the majority, I'd probably say 70% of the transfers that occur from the day-to-day person for most people aren't scanned. Because usually, I have to get a file, I send a file to Chuck. Usually I'll send it through email. And so email is great. It works, it's very simple to use. People know how to use it, they like it. And so it's why it's so popular. The problem is it's not secure. We all know that it's not secure, but we use it every day anyway. And so the idea is that if you have data that is very sensitive, that contains personal information, or maybe it contains credit card information or whatever, or medical records, you want to make sure that data is securely transferred. And so you can still use email for that functionality, but we want to actually protect the data itself. So Mail Express works in conjunction with Outlook. It also works in conjunction with browsers. You can use browser interface as well, we'll talk about in a second. But allows you to send that data securely so we can protect the fact that you remove that file, strip it off the email itself, and put it into a secure server where somebody can come get the file. So very much like a secure email solution, but it works seamlessly and invisibly for the client and the user. So it also allows to reduce the exchange server, because now we're taking the file out of the email itself and just putting a stub inside the email, and the attachment itself then goes into the Mail Express server as well.
So if I was gonna send out a file to multiple people, how is it compressing that file? And
So-
then send,
With the
encrypting it
file-
to multiple people, how do multiple people get it?
Right, so the file, when we stripped off the email, strip it off from the email, we send it up to the Mail Express server. And so, actually, I'll go outside now. 'Cause it
So
comes
it's
here.
essentially just a link at that point.
What's that?
It's like just a link.
If you get a link, exactly. So in this case here, on the left side here, we have somebody send a file out. So whether they're sending it through Microsoft Outlook, or they're sending it through Office 365 or a browser, it doesn't really matter. But the point is, they go into this interface and they click send an email. They can create an email normally where they attach the file. So the system will automatically strip off that file, and in its place, will send back links. Now, to your question about if I send a file to say 100 people, if I put 100 people in this email, I'm going to get 100 unique links back from the Mail Express server. Every single one of these people are going to get a unique link. So this allows us to track and audit when and who gets that file and what time they get. We can also require authentication to say that they have to log in. The system will automatically generate an account for them, so that when they want to get the file, they have to log in, create it, download it, and then we can do that for them. So the system will manage all this for you. You don't have to do any of this other stuff.
Do those links expire?
They can. They can. It's up to you. As an administrator, you can define the expiration of those links to be 30 days, it would be 5 days, 10 days. We do empower the users though. We empower them to become more restrictive whenever less restrictive from the administrative department.
You said you're working with the U.S. Army. So does that work with the enterprise, the Outlook system? So when I get online and I pull up my Outlook online, I attach some PII and I send it. Are you telling me that Mail Express is on that system, or it could be?
No, so there could be. So there's different ways you can use the online system. So in the browser interface, there's a web interface for Mail Express directly to connect to Mail Express. You log into the Mail Express platform itself and send it files that way. When it comes to the outlet, there is a web-based outlet version right now, or even Outlet OL, which currently we do not support. But for clients that are using Office 365, and they're using a thick client on their devices, we can still work in conjunction with that system.
Okay, you know if the U.S. Army is using that?
They are using Mail Express, but I don't know if they're using the web portion of it now. So we have clients that, we have the U.S. Army using
For the desktop application.
for desktop applications.
All right, thank you.
But I know they're going towards a cloud system. I remember reading that. So. All right. So where we're at. So we got some links back. The system still sends the email out through your regular mail server. So we're not bypassing the Exchange or the mail server you currently have in your organization. So we do want to make sure we integrate with the system and not work around it. We want to work in conjunction with all the systems. So we're still sending an email out. So whatever rules you put in place into the mail server, we will still abide by it because we're going to send out directly to your mail server. So say you can't send emails to Gmail, then your mail server will block it automatically. So that'll stay intact. Once the email goes out, the recipient gets it, they have their own set of links, and they essentially will download that link, will take them straight into the Mail Express server. You can download the attachment from that.
How does this tie in with like antivirus scanning? I mean, a lot of people have
Yeah.
like a Barracuda or something that's gonna scan the file before they send it out.
Right, so Mail Express does have, it doesn't go with EFT, so we can actually pull, and when the file goes through, we can trigger EFT can actually send that out to an ICAP server to make sure that it doesn't meet the requirements. And then we remove the file and send it over. But yeah, we can move it through ICAP to the solution file. Just scanning the file. Any questions on Mail Express? Okay, so we covered the high availability, the multiple protocol support, and then simple and different interfaces for users to use. So the secure global accessibility that we need for our clients exists there. So we'll talk now a little bit more about the automation that exists. So we move files, we can receive the files, but now what do we do with them? And so within the product here, there's a very simplified solution for automation. So the system comes with built-in schedule timer event to be able to actually schedule transfers on a daily, monthly, every second Thursday if you want of the month. We can do hot folders, so if we want to keep a folder and watch it, and something lands in that folder itself, we can then trigger the event to go ahead and move that file out or push it, send email notification. We also have user-generated events, so when a user logs in, or their account gets locked, or their RT gets banned, we can trigger off that action as well. We can trigger off new files being uploaded, new folders being created, somebody stops the site, somebody stops the server. We can do any type of action at that point. We can trigger somebody logs with a user and report is generated. So there's a bunch of different triggers that we can do. Based on any one of these triggers, we can then take any number of actions. So that action could be moving the file, it could be uploading the file, it could be decrypting the file from PGP, it could be generating a report, it could be almost anything here. So whatever type of action you want to do is available through this automated system. So the nice thing about this is it's pretty much all wizard driven. You don't have to learn any type of coding. You don't have to build any type of specific script for it. It's all built in here. You just double click, drag and drop, and put the information into the wizard. It's very straightforward, very simple to use, very easy to implement. A lot of clients, one of the things we get compliments on from our customers is that it is easy. I mean, it's something they don't have to learn web methods or learn any type of specific programming that they should do in the system. They can just double click and run with the product. The whether you send email notifications out, you can log the event logger from here. Doesn't require any type of third-party application for it. You can just do it straight from the user interface. Now, if this isn't enough, if you want to do something very more advanced, I mean, maybe you want to do a whole workflow over the script, we can do that too. So the application does have advanced automation as well. So we can do things where we can create a whole script for you. You can build your own script and work with the data itself, open up the files, moving the files, decrypting them. If we want to open up zip files and extract all the files that are there, we can do that from the system as well. Again, no coding. You don't have to learn the language for this either. This is all just variable information. You can actually, instead of knowing that dim x means create variable in VB, you can just hit a button that says create variable and type in the name variable and whatever data you want to put in that variable. It's very easy. And every single action here is going to has its own error coding, error checking. So if something happens, you can say on this specific error, go ahead and call it, or just ignore the error altogether, or do a retry of the step. So every single thing that exists here, you can do, whether it's Excel files, database files, SMP, SharePoint Exchange. We have an XML walker in here. You can actually open up the XML files and feed them into a database if you need to. You can validate some of the files through CRC checking or MD5 hashes. Whatever you want to do, and it's possible through here. If you can't find something within the advanced workflow, and you have an application that you want to use, maybe a DLL, we can actually run a DLL call from the system as well. So we can actually work with other systems as well. We have clients that use Remedy integrated service to actually create help tools from the system automatically. So you can do anything you want with the system here, but again, you don't have to know any specific code language. It's all Groovy-based. Any questions on this? All right, so everything in here can be done either through manually. You can log in and go and open up the GUI, but you can also do a lot of programmatic calls. So you can actually do stuff through an API, API available. So you can programmatically create users without having to log in. So you can script the user import, you can script the event rule creation, whatever you want to do. You can also call and trigger these event rules from a web service. So if you want to have these systems, the event rule kick off, say if you use a login rule that's the user has logged in, you can kick it off with a web service call itself instead of having to actually log in. Any questions on the automation? So we talked about the security latches, robust automation, so the API web services are available, automation, enhanced program automation capabilities as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about now the reporting capabilities. So it's great that we can do all this type of activity. We can now have a server running, it's available. We have all the type of automation that exists. But what about tracking? We need to be able to see what's going on in the system. So we can do that. So within the application we're talking about, obviously we have flat file logs. Every application out there should have flat file logs. If they don't know what they're doing. So we do, of course, have flat file logs. This is a transaction for every single transfer we do. We will log the detail about every single of those transfers. We have a consolidated log for every inbound entry we get somebody logged for every single of those transfers. And then also a consolidated log for the client transfers in general. But log files are up there to go through, especially when you're dealing with like 10,000 transfers that may occur in an hour. So this works, but it's not great. So then we also have a database engine that you can actually log everything to a database server. So with SQL or Oracle, whatever you want to use here, we can log all the transactional information and view and run reports based on those, for that activity. That's whether they're adding a user or somebody, an event rule fails, or file transfer uploads. It's all going to be logged in this database here. These reports, there are about 30 different reports, I believe, that exist in the system. So you can actually have these reports run manually. You can log in and run them yourself. Put whatever criteria you want in the report. You want to look for a specific user account, you can do that here. You can have these reports generated on a scheduled basis. If you want it every day, every month, have the report sent out to you. We can do that here as well. You can have these reports generated on an event. So if somebody uploads a file and looks for a specific file, then we can run the report on that event itself. But the reporting isn't as great either because, again, you have to know what report you want to generate, and then you have to go in here and manually run it. And so, or unless you have pre-configured, then you may be missing some important information. So this works great too, a lot of clients like this, but in today's world, we're become very impatient. So I know I'm very impatient. So a lot of times we want to look at it and see immediately what's going on. And so we've taken the standardized log files we talked about, and taken the reporting that we showed, and we've shoved it into a system called business activity monitoring, where you can real time see what's going on in the system. So this allows you to open up a web browser and just fire up an interface and say, okay, this is the transfer that occurred, this is the most recent transfer, inbound and outbound transfer that the server has performed and received. We can see trending information, how many files have we received, has it gone up, has it gone down, if it has gone down, if we have a client that we regularly do business with and suddenly their file transfer has gone down, we can say, hey, we've noticed you haven't sent any files this month, so is it okay, do we need something different, is the system broken? Or if they send a whole lot of files, we can say, hey, what's with the increase in volume, is it a good thing or a bad thing? You can directly see from here if something does fail. You can open up that transfer from this interface and pull up that report and pull up that log directly from this interface itself. You don't have to log into the server and search and find that log file.
So is it proactive, like are there triggers in the log files that say, okay, if it comes across this, then it'll send out an email or a report? Or do you have to pull it whenever, and if you happen to see an error or something that's off, then?
So if there's an error, you can set up notifications for any type of error that may occur in the system. So when an on fails, for any example, maybe it fails, you can send an email notification or you can have a report generated here. We had a client that there's a notification section, which is there's a configuration out there at the top, but we can programmatically input notifications. So if something does fail, we can have it flagged at the bottom. For example, we had a client that wanted to do expectations. So they expected a file every hour, or I think at 8 a.m. every day from a specific client. And they wanted to log in here and see if it came in or not. So we had that kind of notification built in. All right. So any other questions on this part here? So that being said, we've talked about the security and accessibility, so we can maintain the server and have it highly available through clustering, through having multiple protocol support, different interfaces for different systems, different users, different applications may come in. The automation exists, so you can do whatever you want with the files, whether it's opening them up, injecting them to the database, or manipulating the data. So at the same time, we capture all the event logins, so user management, user account generation, administrative connections that may occur will all be logged. Advanced reporting and event level logging, along with the real-time dashboard, so you can actually see what's going on in the system. And it's in one single solution. You don't have to have multiple systems doing all this. This is one single platform. So that's pretty much it. So, any questions? Yes, sir?
Talk about integration with 365.
So Office 365 in general, well, right now, the way we work with clients that want to use that with Remote Express is usually you have to turn on SMTP services for that system to send files out. That's the only change you have to make in the environment. And aside from that, we can work with 365. That being said, I think I'll turn it over to Chuck here. And talk about the clients that we do business with today.
Yeah, again, here are some names of some of the top corporations we've done business with currently and of course in the past. One thing about our product, it sticks. Once we get that installed, we have a very high renewal rate of about 98%. So with that being said, the product, basically we have a lot of satisfied customers. Go ahead to the next one. And that is pretty much it. And again, I want to thank everyone for your time today. Adrian, thank you for a great presentation. Steve and Chuck and Jeff.
I don't know if you addressed it or not, but are there any questions about maybe even some of the things that people are using today? Do you guys have any questions about some of the techniques or some of the tools you're using? You guys comment on? Yeah, please.
I have a question about the GUI system. Like, is that yours? Is that proprietary? I mean,
It's everything done.
okay. And that sounds amazing. I'd like to be able to do programming things back on the phone, the codes.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. As far as the advanced workflow settings, kind of very convenient. I mean, if you have just a basic concept of coding at all, then it's very flexible. You can do whatever you want in that page back. So, and what's even nicer is that as the company grows and you develop more and more scripts, when you hand it off to somebody else, they don't have to know what specific language. They can see, oh, this is what it literally says. Loop through directory. If this, then do that. So it's all in plain English.
So is that a specific program that you offer? Is it just that, or is that integrated with other systems?
It's integrated with
Yeah.
EFT server. So you need EFT server and then
Yes, ma'am.
Seems like you have a lot of very big clients that are big companies. Do you work with smaller outfits, and how can you, I guess, change to the needs of each person? Is it easy to do for a smaller company?
Yes, depending on the solution and what the needs are of that particular individual company. The EFT product comes in an enterprise version and an SMB version. So, of course, we've been talking a lot tonight about enterprise. We are very scalable with all of our products from, we have some organizations, 10, 20 employees. So, again, very scalable from S of SMB on up to large enterprise.
We run into a lot of customers in general who might be small, but they have the same challenges, the same sophistication of very large companies. And if personal information, if Sarbanes-Oxley, if, any security protocol is important, and sometimes you don't really give enough thought to, what that's doing and how it will affect, the liability side of our business is not yet our cost side of our business. So, things like this have been very enlightening to me personally, in order to try and really get a feel for, our customer mix, maybe not the largest customers, but the ones that really deal in those personal information, or, they're dealing with PCI compliance, or they're dealing in a realm, HIPAA compliant in some cases, even a small doctor's office has those concerns.
Yes.
So there are scalable solutions, whether it's the email component or whatever, that are broad and make sure they can really take care of things. You guys are gonna be around for a little while?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You might not want to talk to me immediately afterwards. I went downstairs to see if anybody might be stuck outside, so they locked the door at a certain time. And I didn't realize that they'd locked me out as well. So I couldn't get the elevator to work to come back up here to 11, so I ran up 11 flights of stairs here just to find out that, which I'm very proud of, by the way, but just to find out that the door on 11 doesn't open. So I ran down 11 flights of stairs and finally tracked down a security officer and pay no attention to the hole in the plate glass window up front in order to get back up here again. So, the things we do for our customers, right? So, but you guys will be around for a little while, right?
Yes, so feel free to pull us to the side, ask any questions. One thing I'd like to also mention is Unitive is one of our premier partners. They are also a partner not only with the products but also with our pro services. So if you have any questions, please reach out to the Unitive team. Steve will get in touch with us, and then we'll be at your beck and call. Whatever you need. If you need a higher-end demo, we can arrange that. If you need NFR software, trialware software, we can also make that happen for
Yeah,
you
you
too.
do offer a 30-day free trial.
Yes, yes, we do.
So recognize a couple other people too. Rick Dalechek's in the room. Rick, we've worked on a lot of projects together. We've got a lot of new friends we've met here in the marketplace, a lot of people that are involved with security. Eric, who knows a lot of people in the space as well, and these guys are great to talk to. I mean, if you have customers that, as individuals who are in the marketplace, when we meet somebody who's in need, we don't like to say, I can't satisfy that for you. So we try and find a solution, and that's really what kind of brought us together, and I'm thrilled we can, bring an expert to the table for people who have a concern. And speaking of who have concern, first of all, there are like 5 million cookies back there. So if everybody doesn't take one out, you're really gonna do us a disjustice tomorrow, because they'll be on the counter in the office, and that's not a good thing. Trust me, in our world, that's not a good thing to have sweets laying around.
You work all night baking them.
Every one of those is made with love, and you never believe where those people are. Okay, so we're gonna do a drawing for the gift card, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Starbucks gift card.
You can't possibly hold that high enough that I can't see it.
You know what, that is not possible, but let's try.
Why don't you, hey, let's have somebody else. Matt, you wanna be in charge of,
Pick yourself.
picking up? Yeah, if you pick yourself, you disqualified. Okay, there you go.
All right, so
Oh, Again, let's wrap this up and let Andrew talk about. First of all, thanks Greg for putting this all together as well. And these guys, we have someone from Tampa, Florida, from San Antonio, from Atlanta. These guys all came up here thinking that Cardinals being the rules, no, thinking that they were going to be making this presentation. I know, I'm hurt too. But making this presentation tonight, so thanks for coming out. We really
Hockey game to see a real sport.
Hockey, yes, you can see a real sport, yeah. This kind of topic, I mean, we try and present different things all the time. We have email presentations, we have video presentations, security presentations, and really would like to get your feedback on this when we send the, when we send out the questionnaire about the event and see what you think, how we can make the next presentation even better. Because we're committed to doing these monthly. We want to share our knowledge. We want to share those cookies. And anything you can do to help us make our presentation